Gentlemen, start your engines.
One to go. Lights on the pace car go out. Thanksgiving All-Star Classic set to begin. And just one more lap. Preston Peltier and Jody Mesmer on the front row. Bradley McCaskill in the blue 18 on the inside of the second row. Clay Jones flanked to his outside. Pace car with the field at toe. They begin to bunch up nose to tail. They're in turns 3 and 4. Pace car makes the hard left turn behind the wall. Mike Hare on top of the flag stand has the field in his command. Green flag is in the air. The Thanksgiving All-Star Classic is underway. Preston Peltier dives from the bottom of turns 1 and 2. He'll take the lead on the back straightaway and left them battling for the second spot.
That battle short-lived, though, as Bradley McCaskill takes second spot. Jody Mesmer tucks into third. Side by side for fourth, though. Tough start for the 19 of Jordan Anderson. He's now got the 15 of Clay Jones on his outside. Anderson quickly clears Jones, and now it's Fultz on the inside of Jones. Jones falling back in a hurry.
Clay Jones stuck on that outside lane, nowhere to go. Falling back now in a battle for the 6th position. Flanking him to the inside, racing hard there. As they go down the back straightaway, Clay Jones again loses another position. Shelton McNair Jr. goes to the inside.
Trying to move his way to the front, the pride of Durham, Jay Fogelman. Jay Fogelman knows his way around this place better than just about everybody, but maybe the gentleman behind him, Shelton McNair Jr. McNair quickly trying to move to the front as well. Fogelman will clear Jeff Fultz. McNair now side by side with Fultz down the front stretch. They've been having to turn 3. Fultz's car doesn't look like it's handling that well, but McNair has nowhere to go behind Fogelman. He'll finally clear Fultz coming off of turn 2.
Meanwhile, up front, a battle for the lead. Bradley McCaskill dives to the inside of Preston Peltier in turn 1. By the time they exit the second corner, we've got a new race leader. Bradley McCaskill to the front of the field. Peltier drop kick to second. Jody Mesmer continues to ride third.
Bradley McCaskill is the fastest car in practice. Talked to him before the race, and he was really upset with his qualifying run and thought he had more of a car than that. And right now, he's trying to flex his muscles out front here at Southern National.
Good racing from 6th on back. That's where the red and white Ford of Jay Fogelman has the field at bay. The Whiskey Dick's saloon car of Clay Jones right up underneath his rear spoiler. Just behind him is Jeff Fultz as he continues to fight off the hard-charging Joe Heigl.
Back in the field, Alex Fleming looks to the inside of Cole Tim. Tim had just gotten by him. Fleming looked really, really loose on the early going here. You have cars right now that track this cold, having a tough time finding grip. Others cars loosen way up to adjust for that grip and now has not nearly enough grip.
So 9 laps complete, 150 make up the distance. Here comes the race leader, Bradley McCaskill. He'll click off lap number 10. And the early going of this one, flexing muscle as Preston Peltier continues to just ride his tire tracks 2 car lengths off the back bumper.
Bradley McCaskill is going to look in out the front of his car, and he's going to see the 71 of Nick Robinson. That's a team car for the Graphics Unlimited team there. Hopefully Robinson will give him a little bit of room. We've seen a lot of difficulty with trying to get through slower traffic this week here and all throughout the weekend. I'd like to see leaders be able to get through and race themselves and not have to worry about the slower traffic, but very rarely does that actually work out.
Closing in on the back of the field right now and quickly getting out of the way, Nick Robinson dives to the bottom of the track, lets the leader swing by on his outside. McCaskill gets by easily, as does Peltier. Mesmer gets by as well as they battle for the number 4 and 5 position. Jordan Anderson and Shelton McNair Jr. in lap traffic.
Anderson trying to find his way around Nick Robinson. Robinson goes way down low to try to get out of his way. They were told in the driver's meeting, stay low to let guys up and around. Anderson tried to get down even lower, and that's going to let McNair try to make a pass on the high side. McNair thinks better of it and tucks back in behind Anderson going into 3.
Sheldon McNair Jr. opens up the inside lane on Anderson at the front straightaway. Nothing doing back to turn 1. He's not giving up the fight there. McNair again peeks to the inside on the backstretch.
Once again, though, Jordan Anderson slams the door. McNair drives it in there. McNair could probably drive it in there a little deeper than he has been. He's letting Jordan Anderson try to make a mistake before he does anything. Anderson gets a little bit loose in front of McNair. McNair checks up. While back in the field, you got a whole Donnybrook going on right behind Jay Fogelman.
That's got Clay Jones stacked up there. Joe Heigl is stacked up there. Jeff Fultz is stacked up there, and everybody working to the outside of the lapped car of Nick Robinson here. 17, now make it 18 laps into this.
So McNair has finally made it around Jordan Anderson while all that was going on. Anderson's car just looks really, really tight right now. He's diamonding off the corners, which is something that you see with tight cars here at the track. Right behind Anderson, Jay Fogelman's kind of leading a whole conga line of cars. As Alex said, with Jones, Heigl, Fultz, Tim, Fleming, and Batten all stacked up nose to tail. Really nobody trying to make a pass right now, almost like they're just letting themselves get to a later stage in the race when they can race a little harder, maybe get a caution, come out, re-rack the field.
20 laps complete. We'll give you a full field rundown. Find out where your favorite driver is running. Bradley McCaskill is the race leader. Preston Peltier is second. Jody Mesmer rides third. Shelton McNair Jr. is fourth. And Jordan Anderson is fifth.
Jay Fogelman currently sits sixth with Goldsboro. Clay Jones seventh. Joe Heigl. Clay Jones actually moves up past Jeff Fultz. Fultz drops down to ninth. Cole Kim sits 10th. Alex Fleming 11th.
John Batten runs 12th. Carl Weber 13th. Jeff Batten 14th. And Nick Robinson, 2 laps down, runs in the 15th position here as 22 of 150 laps are in the books. Alex Hayden alongside Ken Childs. Ken, your opening 22 laps assessment of what we've seen to this point.
Well, we had seen a lot of patience, and that looks like it's going by the wayside in a hurry. That line that was lined up behind Jay Fogelman starting to shuffle around. You see Joe Heigl make it by Fogelman, and now Jeff Fultz is trying to get by as well. Meanwhile, Clay Jones is falling back a little bit. Out front, though, it looks like the leaders, as you kind of expect in a race like this, just pacing themselves, letting themselves feel each other out, get as far ahead of the cars racing behind there as they can, and not worry about using up their stuff too much. Let the guys behind them do that for themselves.
Boy, from fifth on back, it has been an absolute hornet's nest. Joe Heigl is there. Jeff Fultz is back there. These teams racing hard, working around some of the lap traffic. Jay Fogelman was leading this parade for the first 20 or so laps. He's been moved out of the way, and now it's fallen back into the 9th position.
Fleming's trying to hold off an attack from John Batten right now. He'll get to the inside of Jeff Batten. Batten lets Batten by. Out front of that group, Joe Heigl had to work his way through a little bit of traffic, got through and used a slower car as a pick to get by Jay Fogelman, and he started to check out. Fogelman known for not really pushing it too early, and he's just kind of biding his time, making sure he stays on the lead lap. Still plenty of way to go before the leaders can catch him. He's got about a half track back to the leader.
Yeah, you have to take care of your tires here, even though it's very cold outside, temperature right at 50 degrees. The tires are warm, but you still have to take care of them, and specifically the right rear tire. You can look out through the corners here, Ken, and for those people here at the racetrack and in the luxury boxes, you can see some of the right rears of these race cars, specifically coming off of turn number 4, really kicking sideways. Not exactly what you want to do. That will wear out that right rear tire in a hurry, and we're only 30 laps into this thing.
You saw that last night in the big modified race, the old Kyle Rickey Memorial there. We had cars come in, the modifieds got to take a 2-tire change whenever they really wanted. The Myers brothers both decided instead of changing 2 tires, they're just worried about the right rear, and that was it. They made a right rear change at about lap 50, made another right rear change at about lap 100 or so, and they had way more grip than anybody else that had taken 2 right sides. You see at a lot of tracks, the right front tire is the one you have to worry about. Here at Southern National, it's so much banking and so much grip. The right rear is the one that the drivers really drive off of coming off the corner. And the more you slide that, the less long that lasts. And so you see guys like McCaskill and Peltier and McNair, for instance, just riding right now, letting the guys racing hard behind them do their thing. And in a long race like this, you don't want to push it too early if you can help it. And that's what gives the leaders an advantage later on against some of the guys that might come on strong toward the end.
Bradley McCaskill continuing to show the way. He's got a 1.6 second advantage over second place running Preston Peltier. Peltier's, you're just joining us. Won last night about 3.5 hours west of us at Concord Motorsports Park. Came over here today in the morning practice session, stuffed his car firewall deep in the fence. He, along with his crew and some other helping hands in the infield, were able to rebuild the front end of that race car. Ken, not only rebuild it, but rebuild it very well, and he went out and put it on the pole today.
And he put it on the pole without a single lap today in practice. It says a whole lot about how much practice you need if you know a racetrack. You know, Peltier knows this track very well, knows about what he needs as a setup. And all these guys have baseline setups, kind of know what they want to do with the car on the track. Peltier put the setup in there, threw it into one, wasn't sure what he was going to get, but it stuck. He set it on the pole and currently rides second behind Bradley McCaskill.
These are the super late models. They are going 150 laps today. We have been clean and green since the drop of the green flag. 38 laps into the 150 that make up the distance. Still a long, long way to go. Traffic becoming an issue for the race leaders. And we've had a lot of loose cars. We were just talking about some of these back markers, very loose up off the corners, making it challenging for the leaders to figure out exactly which lane to take.
And what you see with a track like this, when it's that cold, drivers want to sometimes try to overcompensate. You don't have as much grip. You're kind of tight. Loosen up the car to try to get a little more speed out of it. But what that happens over the course of a long run, especially at a high bank track like this, they come off the corner and the car kind of lifts up off the corner, kind of like you see at a Dover or something like that. And that back end wants to kick out on them. So the guys that are slower right now, a lot of them had tried to overcompensate, and now they're paying the consequences as a result. Bradley McCaskill continues to lead. His difference from him back to Preston Peltier is about 2.5 seconds. About another 0.8 seconds back to Jody Mesmer. Mesmer has Shelton McNair slowly closing in. But then it's way back to Forest Acres, Jordan Anderson. Anderson has Joe Heigl. He's your super late model track champion here. Slowly closing in. Anderson's got a lot of free track to work with. Slower cars are about a half track away from him. He'll be able to do what he needs to do to try to stay ahead of Joe Heigl, but Heigl's are coming in a hurry.
Shelton McNair Jr. consistently running in the 4th position. McNair's one of those guys, Ken, that is a long-time veteran of running these high-powered, lightweight, offset. We call them left-hander chassis. They are offset chassis. He understands how to set these cars up. More importantly, he knows how to save the tires. McNair, I'm not so sure, he's not saving the best for later on as well. He's found himself a good spot in the 4th position, not letting leaders get away too far right now. Still on the same straightaway with them, but McNair right now running a smart race early.
And if you look at McNair's times, time after time, he's clicking off about the same time that Bradley McCaskill is, that Preston Peltier is, and what Jody Mesmer is. He knows he doesn't have to win this race on lap 50. You don't get anything for lap 50. You don't get anything for lap 75. Slow car on the track, and that is Clay Jones from Goldsboro, North Carolina. Jones, one of the favorites out here. He knows this track really well. He races it in a lot of divisions. He's finished second in the U-Car race. Finished up toward the front of the limited late model race, and now he's got trouble. It sounded like an engine issue in there for Clay Jones.
It's a tough break for Clay Jones as his race comes to an end early. We are 40 laps in, nearly 1/3 of this one in the books. And it's been Bradley McCaskill, after taking the lead from Preston Peltier some 11 laps into this thing. Bradley McCaskill has not looked back. Peltier continues to ride second as 50 laps are now complete. Jody Mesmer still 3rd. McNair is 4th. Jordan Anderson is 5th as they're racing hard for position on the backstretch.
Jordan Anderson's got 5th place. Joe Heigl wants it. Heigl to the inside of Anderson. Gets the nose underneath, but Anderson's running pretty strong off the high side. He may have found something up there. They come side by side off of turn 2.
Further back, the battle continuing between Jay Fogelman and Jeff Folks. As that settles down, Fogelman hangs on to that spot. Meanwhile, back up to that same battle, Joe Heigl continuing to pester the back end now of Jordan Anderson as they work lap traffic. Things begin to settle down. They have to go double wide as it's tight squeezings in turn 3.
When you're doing things in Wilson County, you're doing them a little wide, and Jordan Anderson to the outside. He's going to tuck back in right ahead of Joe Heigl. They did a good job getting around that slower traffic. Thing is getting a little hairy out there. You have like 2 classes of slower traffic. You have a couple cars well off the pace. Other guys who just can't quite keep pace with the leaders, and now they're getting all tangled up as well. A lot of different strategies on how to get around those cars as well. But now Jordan Anderson and Joe Heigl have both cleared them. They're racing for 5th. They've got Cole Tim creeping up on them, though.
Field still working under the green flag. Bradley McCaskill coming by the start-finish line. 55 laps now go up on the board. His advantage on Preston Peltier has now grown to 3.2 seconds. McCaskill working traffic a little better than the other drivers out there, but still just past the 1/3 mark of this race. One thing, however, taking a look at Bradley McCaskill's car as he comes by us in the front stretch, Ken, he's got some debris on the grill of his race car. So Bradley McCaskill's got some kind of debris on the grill of the race car. Not sure if that's going to affect the temperatures on that car or not. Difficult to see what the tape is on the car that they put on there themselves to try to get the downforce on the front of these cars.
That debris, though, is on the right side of the grill. Normally, when you tape one of these things up, you try to tape it up on the left side if you need a little bit of help with downforce. Can't quite tell what it is. Looks like a hot dog wrapper or something like that. Not very big. It might not have cause a big problem today on a cold day like today. It's only 50 degrees outside at the moment. McCaskill's going to catch some slower traffic, though. He's got both the Batten boys right ahead of him there. He'll get by Jeff Batten first, and he's got John Batten right in his window. Right ahead of him, though, perennial contender Alex Fleming, currently running 10th, not the race he's wanted so far. Fleming in danger of going a lap down as the race for 5th.
The battle for 5th continues to be fantastic. Side by side, lap after lap, Joe Heigl to the inside of Jordan Anderson. They approach a slower car of Carl Weber. These two drivers have been wheel to wheel, dead even for 5 straight laps, fighting for the number 5 position.
Anderson's really found a way to make that top side work. You get a lot more room to work with if you can pin somebody down. Cole Tim gets around on the backstretch. He's going to tap the wall down halfway down the backstretch, and the caution flag flies. Tim was riding right behind that battle for 5th. Really had nowhere to go, got loose, may have had to tap the brakes coming off the corner to not get into the back of someone. Tried to save it down the backstretch, got about 3/4 of the way down before he slid to a stop on the inside wall.
As we are going to get Bradley McCaskill goes to the inside, Preston Peltier to the outside. Nothing out of the ordinary. Most everybody going inside, outside, alternating back and forth. So no major shakeup in this first restart of this race.
Sheldon McNair really thought about it, though. Everyone else just kind of came to it. McNair slowed almost to a stop, looked at it, decided he wanted to go to the high side.
After the shakeup here under the caution flag, he now finds himself back in the number 10 position. Here we go. Pace car behind the wall. Green flag goes back in the air. And the Super Late Model race is back underway. And right on the break, it's Bradley McCaskill beginning to exercise the muscle one more time.
Sheldon McNair moves up to 3rd on the high side. Looks like Jody Mesmer spinning turn number 3. Joe Heigl backs it into the wall. He caught Jordan Anderson while Anderson scrambled high. Looked like Heigl just backed it on into him. And the 49er, Jeff Batten, had nowhere to go, just plowed into him. Don't know if he hit Heigl as much as he just plowed into the wall, and the wall stopped him right in front of Heigl.
Yeah, Joe Heigl got loose after slight contact diving into turn number 3. Heigl's car went up the racetrack, slapped the outside wall. He also clipped the driver's side of Jordan Anderson's car. Again, Jordan Anderson was running 5th a while ago. On this restart after the exchange, contact with the right front corner of his race car up against the wall, and his race will come to an end. He did refire the car and drive away, Kent. Peltier outside, everybody going, a couple of cars going on the outside. Surprising, Jeff Foltz went to the outside and gave up the inside line to Jay Fogelman.
That's an interesting strategy there, Alex. We'll see how that plays out for him.
Going back to the green flag, 81 laps complete of the 150 that make up the distance.
Mike Hare's got the green flag in his hand. Pace car makes a hard left-hand turn on a pit road. Green flag back in the air. This time, great restart for Preston Peltier. Bradley McCaskill didn't quite get going, and Peltier gets a good run off of turn 2, but McCaskill's to his inside. They're side by side going into turn 3. McCaskill drifts up the track just a little bit, comes off of turn number 4. Preston Peltier is going to get the lead on the outside. Just about clears McCaskill, but can't quite do it going into 1. McCaskill comes charging back on the inside, coming off of turn number 2 and down the backstretch. Side by side for the lead. McCaskill to the inside of Peltier. McCaskill gets the advantage back off of turn 4.
So Bradley McCaskill will retake the lead at lap number 84 after Preston Peltier from the outside lane was able to lead 3 straight laps. Shelton McNair Jr. on the comeback trail. On the restart, he washed wide in turns 1 and 2. Gave up a couple of positions. He's been able to get back now by Jody Mesmer, and McNair's been able to retake the number 3 spot. Mesmer goes 4th, front 4 single file, and Anderson and Fogelman racing hard for 5th.
Jordan Anderson restarted back at about 10th there and has already worked his way back up. Oh, Anderson is now being credited 1 lap down. He lost a lap under caution there. He'll be the next lucky dog if he gets a chance. Jay Fogelman runs 5th right now. He's got cars side by side behind him. Foltz has Joe Heigl to his inside. Heigl's going to try to make the pass. Gets a little bit tight. Foltz gets a good run off of turn number 2. He gets a little bit loose, and Joe Heigl gets the spot.
So Jordan Anderson and Joe Heigl on the racetrack, racing side by side again, just like they did earlier in the event when they were racing for the 5th position. Now they find themselves separated now by Jay Fogelman. Field crossing the stripe. There'll be 90 laps complete, 60 to go, 60 laps to go. Right now we have just 7 cars on the lead lap. We've got Bradley McCaskill, Preston Peltier, Shelton McNair, Jody Mesmer, Jay Fogelman. Jeff Foltz is 6th, and Alex Fleming is the last car on the lead lap in the 7th position.
We've got a lot of good cars all lap down. Joe Heigl looking to be the free pass car. He's flying along on that 15 machine, trying to get back up somewhere. Looks like a little bit of a battle for third, battle for second shaking up. Preston Peltier is trying to hold back Shelton McNair. McNair's probably decided now it's his go time. Still not sure if Peltier has really done everything he's going to do yet. Slow car on the backstretch. That's John Batten. Batten's limping his car along. Looks like it's still under power, but just barely. He's down on the apron. He'll pull it on the pit road safe. McNair just about nicks him, though, coming off of turn 4. It's about a 1.2 second advantage from Bradley McCaskill back to Preston Peltier. Peltier leads McNair and Mesmer both by about a length or 2 each. Then it's a little bit ways back. Actually, a good ways back there. Anderson's the first car lap down. Fogelman's trying to hold off Joe Heigl, who's also a lap down. So the lap cars, some of them that are out there, are just about as fast as the lead lap cars, and it's going to make for interesting racing in between all those positions.
It really is. These drivers that have a good setup underneath the race car and have themselves hooked up on the racetrack are having to decide which lane to go to, because the cars who are off on the handling department, some are way off and are really all over the racetrack. The back end kicking sideways and cutting back across the track. It's making things awfully interesting for the guys at the front of the field.
Hey, look out there. You see Joe Heigl to the inside racing Jay Fogelman. Really, really tough. Heigl's a lap down. Really should be trying to give that spot to him. But Fogelman's not racing anybody for a position. So Fogelman's just riding on the outside. Don't know if that's making him use any more tire than he needs to. You don't want to use any more tire at this track than you do. It'll eat it away in a hurry. We're just about 50 laps to go still.
Jay Fogelman made a pit stop earlier in the race under caution to try to adjust the handling of his race car. He's riding in the number 5 spot, but not threatening anybody in front of him for the moment for position. So not sure exactly if the adjustments they made on the race car have helped it whatsoever as he continues to ride 5th. Jeff Foltz is 6th. Alex Fleming is 7th. Jordan Anderson is 8th. He's 1 lap down, the first car lap down, and will be the recipient of the free pass if another caution flag should come out. Joe Heigl, he is now on the 9th position. He too 1 lap down. Carl Weber rides in the 10th position.
Battle for third starting to shape up. Shelton McNair looks like he's lost the back end out of that car. He's really starting to challenge. Really trying to do, oh, spin in turn number 4, and that's Shelton McNair. He was getting a little bit loose. Jody Mesmer gave him just a little bit.
Oh, and they pile in behind him. Can Shelton McNair Jr., the caution as you called it, was already out. He was sideways, and then out of nowhere, Cole Tim jammed it into the backside of Joe Heigl's Chevrolet, lifted Heigl up in the air, and then Cole Tim's car bounced off of Heigl's car into Shelton McNair Jr.'s car. The NASCAR inspectors checking Bradley McCaskill's car for the second time, Ken. This time they have found fluid. Looks like rear end grease dripping from the race leader's car, Bradley McCaskill. He's going to have to head for pit road. Tough break for Bradley McCaskill as they go to work up underneath the back of his race car. So that'll give Preston Peltier the race lead.
If I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. Nobody wins with a leaky rear end. And in this case, Bradley McCaskill is a recipient of having to go on the pit road. His team, to their credit, quickly dives under there, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys underneath the car.
Oh, and he's going to go, let's see, Peltier to the inside. Peltier to the inside. Mesmer goes to the inside. And the third place running Jeff Foltz will go to the outside. So Jeff Foltz will restart second now on the outside of the front row.
Going to see whether or not he can get through a lot of very tough cars ahead of him to try to get back to the lead.
So Bradley McCaskill is still, in fact, on the lead lap in the 8th position. Last car on the lead lap. Pace car behind the wall. Green flag goes back in the air. 113 laps go up on the board. The cars span out 2 and 3 wide further back in turn number 1. They get through it unscathed. It's going to be Preston Peltier. Jeff Foltz will fall in line second. First time Jeff Foltz has been in the second spot in the race today.
Factor fourth right now. Jody Mesmer to the inside. Shelton McNair to the outside. McNair drifts up the track. McNair is locked down. So check that. McNair looks to the inside though, and right behind there, Bradley McCaskill. He's going to try to do everything up on the high side. He gets up around Alex Fleming, crosses over on McNair, taps McNair, getting sideways. McNair drifts up the track. McCaskill holds the spot. Fleming now to the inside of Shelton McNair Jr.
Bold move by Bradley McCaskill. 8 wheels turn better than 4. He shoved himself to the inside of Shelton McNair, pushed him up the racetrack, smoke flying between the cars, and Bradley McCaskill gets away. He's up to the 5th position now. Alex Fleming to the inside of McNair. Meanwhile, in front of them, they're double wide for 3rd.
Well, they were double wide for 3rd. Jody Mesmer takes his spot from Jay Fogelman. Fogelman, again, he's a driver that's not going to push it till late, but he's starting to run out of time. Loses his spot to Mesmer coming off of turn number 4, and now he's got the 118 of Bradley McCaskill right in his mirror. McCaskill is on the charge going forward.
Front 5 cars right together on the backstretch. Late stages of this race. Peltier, Foltz, Mesmer, Fogelman, McCaskill. Lap 119, trouble in turn 4. Shelton McNair Jr. goes for a spin, nearly the identical spot he spun just a few laps ago, and he had help this time again. A little kick in the caboose sent Shelton McNair Jr. around the 17-degree banking of turn number 4. McNair now not happy with somebody as he continues to go the opposite direction around the racetrack. Just simply waiting to find clear surface so he can spin his race car around and get back in and fall in at the tail end of the field. So the Lee Chevrolet of Shelton McNair Jr.
Cohn's going to come out. We'll see where he goes.
Free pass is Joe Heigl in the 15 car. So Joe Heigl will make his way around, fall in at the tail end of the field. Cars alternating inside lane, outside lane. As Joe Heigl got the free pass. Jordan Anderson is on the lead lap, as is Joe Heigl. 8 cars on the lead lap. Green flag back in the air. And we're racing.
Big push there. Alex Fleming all over the back of Jay Fogelman. Gives him a shove down the straightaway. He'll duck to the bottom and going into turn number 3. Right on Bradley McCaskill's bumper as they come off of turn number 4.
Bradley McCaskill is a man on a mission after having to go to pit road with a grease rear end leak. He's been able to get back out there. He's muscled his way back up to the 3rd position. He now has 25 laps to try to get to the front. 25 laps to go.
When we talk about having to use your stuff to get up to the front, McCaskill's made it look really, really easy, minus getting by the McNair machine there. And he's already back to the bumper of Jody Mesmer for second. front three nose to tail. Preston Peltier now getting some pressure from Jody Mesmer, who's realized who he's got behind him. Mesmer's got to go, and he's got to go now unless he wants Bradley McCaskill to get by him. Big pileup back in the field there. 3 wide coming off of turn number 4. They managed to straighten it all out. That's Jeff Foltz to the outside of Alex Fleming. Well, right behind them, Jay Fogelman's got Jordan Anderson to the inside. Fleming gets loose. They're going to try to go 3 wide into turn 3 again. That straightens all out. Fleming looks like he might have a problem. He's really tight in the corner.
Trying to keep the bottom of the racetrack covered. Jay Fogelman works to his outside, side by side for the 5th position. Meanwhile, at the front of the field, it continues to be Preston Peltier right up underneath his back bumper. Jody Mesmer. Underneath Mesmer's back bumper is Bradley McCaskill, the leaders on the backstretch.
Front 3 nose to tail. Preston Peltier, Jody Mesmer, and Bradley McCaskill just riding out right now, letting that battle behind them go. That's Alex Fleming to the inside of Jay Fogelman. Fogelman tries to slam the door and does going into turn number 1. Come off of turn number 2, and side by side behind him, Joe Heigel's getting past Jordan Anderson and putting a challenge on Alex Fleming.
Good hard racing from 5th, or rather 4th on back. Jeff Foltz leads that group of cars. Jay Fogelman has been able to clear himself right up underneath the back bumper now of Foltz. Then Joe Heigel, Alex Fleming, and Jordan Anderson continue to go wheel to wheel. The front 3 continuing to run nose to tail. They've opened up a full straightaway on the side-by-side battle for the 4th position.
So many times in the past series, you've seen it done where the 4 of Jay Fogelman just waits and waits, and it seems like he has to go, and he doesn't. And then with about 15, 20 to go, he just checks out, and he's doing his best, but he's got a challenge now by Joe Heigel. Heigel gives Fogelman a tap in turn 3, and he's going to go side-by-side off of turn 4.
Heigel to the inside of Fogelman. It's the battle for the 4th spot. Advantage to Joe Heigel. He'll take 4th. Bad news again for Shelton McNair Jr. He's off the pace. He's behind the wall. And Shelton McNair Jr.'s race will come to an end 15 laps shy of the finish.
Out front is still Preston Peltier, but he's having to fight off charge after charge by Jody Mesmer. Dick McCaskill continues to run 3rd. He's starting to fade just a little bit, about 2 or 3 lengths back, while he's letting the leaders kind of race as best they can out front just ahead of him. Just about 10 laps to go this time by, and still no change up front, although some slower traffic might come into play here. Nick Robinson, he's going to stay up to the high side, let the leaders by. Peltier gets by. Mesmer gets right to the bumper of Peltier, gives him a little tap, and Peltier keeps on forward. Another slow car. That's the 101 of Carl Weber will be next. The front 3 stacked and packed. Nose to tail, not even a length between either of them. Peltier goes up and around Weber. McCaskill now to the inside of Jody Mesmer. Mesmer rides up the track just a little bit, charges off of turn 4, tries to slam the door on Bradley McCaskill, but McCaskill's having none of it. He goes to the inside of the white and orange 98. He'll take 2nd place from Mesmer. 8 laps to go, and Preston Peltier's got a challenge on his hands, not just from Bradley McCaskill, but Jody Mesmer is staying right with him. That 3-way for the lead. Normally you got to pay double for that kind of action, Alex, but right now, racing as best we can out front and stacked up through the field as well.
Bradley McCaskill up to the 2nd spot. He's got a car length to chop off before he can challenge for the lead and perhaps the win. 6 laps to go next time by. 6 to go. Preston Peltier trying to double up in wins this weekend. Turn 2, 1 car goes flying around, slides halfway down the back straightaway. It is Cole Tim right in front of the race leaders. Cole Tim spun all by himself coming off the exit of turn number 2, halfway down the back straightaway. Did not rake contact with the wall or any other cars.
The cone's going to come out this time. Peltier goes to the inside, McCaskill to the outside. Jody Mesmer to the inside. Heigl goes up high. Jay Fogelman follows him out there, gives up 5th place, and he's going to let Jordan Anderson get to the inside of him. Jeff Fultz will come across 7th. Coming off of pit road, he'll be racing with Alex Fleming a little further back. They're going to have to restart behind the black cars because they were still on pit road when the cone came out.
Joe Heigl will restart 4th. Jordan Anderson 5th. Jeff Fultz will start 6th. Pace car behind the wall. Here we go. On your feet, fans. Green, white checker, run to the finish. Thanksgiving All-Star Classic. On the brake, it's wheel to wheel into turn 1. Peltier will gain the advantage on exit of turn 2. McCaskill slides in line and rides his tire tracks in 3.
Mike Hare throws a white flag in the air. They come off of turn 4. It's about 2 lengths from Peltier back to Bradley McCaskill. McCaskill's going to throw it in as deep as he can into turn 1. Doesn't quite stick as well as he'd hoped. They come off of turn 2. Peltier's got the advantage.
Preston Peltier has to negotiate turns 3 and 4. Here he is, checkered flag in the air, and Preston Peltier will win the super late model Thanksgiving All-Star Classic division. Bradley McCaskill, a spirited drive, will finish in the 2nd position, and Joe Heigl, who's celebrating his anniversary, will finish in the number 3 spot. Jody Mesmer will finish 4th. Jordan Anderson, an adventurous day with missing sheet metal down the left side of his car. He comes home 5th.
Whenever, bud. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner of the Super Late Model 150, Preston Peltier. Preston, heck of a run out there. A lot of hard racing. Kind of bought your time. Had some help from Bradley McCaskill, but once he got to you, you couldn't get by you.
Yeah, we were really riding there at the beginning. I kind of waved him by, and you know, I didn't want to go that hard and just try to maintain, go as easy as I could, and you know, it all worked out in the end there.
While you were riding back there, did you want to try to get by Bradley, or were you just happy kind of riding there? And at what point were you planning on trying to make a move if you had to?
Man, you know, we'll keep that between me and my teammates here, and you know, our strategy is our strategy, and that's what wins us some races.
Without any practice on the track, did you really know what you had in your race car for a full 150 laps, or did you just threw what you kind of knew at it and hope for the best?
No, everything's different on this car. We had no idea what we had. We kind of just, Jamie just threw something at it, and we all put our heads together, and this is what we got.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner today, Preston Peltier. Give him a big round of applause. Coming over, his 2nd place driver, Bradley McCaskill. Soon to be father, Bradley McCaskill.
Oh, yeah.
Bradley, tough break out there. What happened with the car? What got you set back? And if you had more time, did you have something for Preston?
We had a little leak going. This whole car's wore out, so it leaks a little bit of oil every now and then. But
Who's done it?
yeah, we had like I said, we had a good car. We used a little too much coming back to the field, but you know, it is what it is. 2nd place with a car in one piece ain't a bad day for us.
How hard was it getting through the field? A lot of tough cars out there, a lot of hard racing. You had to muscle your way up there a little bit too.
Yeah, they ain't gonna give no spots away there at the end. Just kind of take what you can get and steal the rest.
Raleigh, North Carolina's Bradley McCaskill. Coming over to 3rd place, driver who probably passed everybody on the track once or twice, minus these guys ahead of him, Joe Heigl. Joe, talk about your day. I can't even begin to try to describe what you had to do on the track today.
It's been a long day, actually a long weekend. These guys have worked awful hard. We run the limited last night and had a long night there, and this thing was pretty decent in the beginning, and we just couldn't get going and got to running, and it was okay. And we had one of those cautions and took back off, and I got on the brakes over going into on the bike stretch, and it just turned around, and I told him we had something going on, and come to find out we had a right rear going down on it. So we came in and swapped the tire out, and the car was pretty good from there on out. Things fell our way, and this is one of those things. I want to thank Michael Ellis, Angie, Chris, Brian, and everybody that's helped us all weekend. Robert Arch, he works awful hard on our stuff every week. I just want to thank all those guys for coming out and helping us the whole weekend.
Now, today is your anniversary. How much has your wife helped you throughout the years trying to keep this car on the track, trying to keep all your cars? You have a whole ton of cars. Got to be pretty supportive out there week in and week out with all the racing you do.
Yeah, my wife loves it as good as I do, I think. It's actually not our anniversary today. It was the other day, but it is her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Angie. But yeah, she would be mad, I think, if we didn't go racing. But yeah, we do have several cars, and it's an awful lot of work to keep them going. And she puts up with us working out in the shop all hours of the morning every week.
Ladies and gentlemen, third place today, Joe Heigl. Second place, Bradley McCaskill. And your winner tonight, Preston Peltier.